an idiot, it's because I took my thumbnail for this live 3 times because I kept yawning during the countdown for it to snap the stupid picture. So I said to myself, oh boy, my goal is to be live for about an hour, no longer than that. And then I said, whatever I decide to go over, whatever I decide to create as a topic, it better be very minimally demanding because I'm just mentally fatigued. I'm mentally drained, mentally tired. So, what better way to try to rebound than attempting to do a fun topic? So, I am on a site called parade.com, and this has a list of never have I ever's questions. And I thought, well, there's 250 of them. I cannot imagine a life in which I can do 250 answers in an hour, but I'm gonna try to get as many as possible done during this. So, the first question is, never have I ever faked sick from work. That is true for me. I have never faked being sick from work and just for the sake of not showing up or calling out. I have, though, had to skip for mental health reasons. I've done that on 2 occasions, like to the point that I can say that I had to skip work because I felt like I wouldn't be present to do a good enough job. To me, that counts as sick because even if physically I wasn't necessarily hindered, if I'm not doing well mentally or emotionally, by extension, my physical capabilities are going to be affected. So I would consider that a form of sickness. It's not limited to just physical. Never have I ever gone skinny dipping. No, and I never will. Never have I ever cheated on a partner. No, because I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. But also, I just think that nobody deserves the emotional and mental anguish that someone doing that to you causes. I really think that relationships are mental functions. Therefore, they need to be treated with respect. And I think that in modern days, part of the crisis that people may have with their mental health is that I feel like there's an element of you not being taken care of very well in your personal life, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed. Never have I ever cheated on a test. So, when it comes to academic integrity, I did pretty well, except on 2 occasions. My first time ever was that, let's see, I believe I was in the 5th grade, if I remember correctly. I think it was the particular teacher I'm thinking about, therefore, this was 5th grade. But there was a girl who was worried about failing her science test. And you guys know that science is my favorite topic, it's my strong topic, so on and so forth. It's not one that I struggle with. Therefore, I'm like, okay, girl, I got you. It was a girl who I was kind of tight with. Not like super, super, super tight, but someone that I could say I respected, and I felt bad that she was worried about not doing well on this test. So I assisted her during the test. And as a 5th grader, I understood what it was like for you to be involved in cheating during a test, but at the time, I really did not think of it as a big deal like that. I just thought about how someone has a need and I can help them, so why wouldn't I? So, anyway, my mom found out and she was like, she did that trying to be good, trying to be righteous out of the kindness of her heart, something like that. So she had that discussion with my teacher, and I don't remember us being flunked. I don't remember us getting zeros, but it was certainly turned into a lesson as to why you shouldn't do that, which is Don't do that because these tests are supposed to evaluate where you're at. They're not diagnostic tests, but consider that if we don't know that you took this test and you actually performed based on your capacity, we don't have a way of knowing whether you actually understood this concept or not. So once that was explained to me, it made sense why cheating shouldn't be a thing. Now, the second time, I was the one who did the cheating, and I was the one getting assistance. And this was in my 11th grade chemistry class. And I remember very vividly, like maybe the next day or the next week, I forget when, but I went up to my teacher and I said, "So, this test that you saw me doing weirdly well at, despite me demonstrating that in class I was struggling, yeah, I might have gotten help from the guy who sits like right next to me at my table, because in science classes you have tables. It's not like you have a desk that is for a single person. On a table, two people can sit on a table at any given time. But if you have a project, then even more people can join. But it was like more so a two-person kind of table. And it makes sense because it's freaking science. You need space in science. Well, whatever it was, it had to do with something that I was being taught, or railroad tracks in chemistry. I forget what it was. I don't think it was for moles, maybe it was. But I just remember that I had made my first relatively low grade in a test before. So this would have been the third test that I had taken in chemistry, and I wasn't making anything higher than a C in those tests. So I was a little upset and frustrated with myself because I'm not used to making anything lower than an A, especially in science classes. So I just got worried and I pretty much planned it with the guy sitting right next to me, and I said, "Brother, whatever you do, just help me get through this because I really do not want to have another bad grade, because otherwise where's that gonna leave me? This is a test. It's a big chunk of the grade." So anyway, I ended up telling my teacher, and my teacher was like understanding. He wasn't thrilled that I had done that, but at the same time, he just said, "Well, I would prefer that you not do that because technically I should flunk you and him for doing this, but I also understand what that's like. And just so you know, in the real world, I guess we all cheat. We all get by cheating because it's not like you're going to go the rest of your life without resorting to any kind of help." So I have always been of the belief that tests should be something that kids should be allowed to collaborate in, but I understand why this is not practical because tests are meant to be an evaluation. So, with my experiences being involved in cheating or helping someone cheat, I guess I had positive experiences, but I just feel bad that it happened at all because I would like to say that I have a clean record academically. But if I were to go back to school now as an adult, given that I went through those experiences, and my understanding now and how I see school in general, guaranteed I wouldn't resort to that. Hello, Zamri. Never have I ever swam in the deep ocean or a lake. You know what? I personally think that swimming out there in nature, I don't want to say is overrated, but you really gotta know what you're doing and you really gotta have the appropriate gear, because swimming without, I guess, snorkeling materials is a whole different experience from just you dumping yourself into the water. Like, something about me swimming without fins, it just doesn't work. It's like I cannot swim to save my life, but when I have fins, it's like, oh, I was actually born to do this. I think that My preferred setting is a swimming pool when I'm by myself. But if I could go out in nature and pick between a lake or a beach, I always said lake because the problem with the beach is the stupid sand getting everywhere. It's just really annoying, and especially on my hair. And I also am not very wild about the taste of salt. Um, but I think that they both have their exclusive benefits. But I'm not sure why, as an adult, I've been a little hesitant about doing that type of thing. Never have I ever marched in a protest. That is true. I never have and never will. Why would I go to a protest? You guys know that I hate crowds. So why would I be in a crowd where emotions may be running a little high, you know? Never have I ever overdrafted my bank account. Unfortunately, I did, and I shared some stories here. I have a memory of sharing the last time that happened to me, and it really pissed me off. And it was something stupid. I overdrafted because rent was due, and I needed like $7 to be in the green and have the amount that I needed for rent. Well, at the time that I transferred that money to put me in the green, my, I guess, apartment complex, whatever, began to process my payment, and I just didn't catch it in time. So when the payment tried to go through, it didn't. Therefore, some bullshit happened, and ultimately I ended up getting charged the stupid overdraft fee. And it was really annoying because, as you heard, if I overdrafted, it's because I didn't have enough money to begin with. So, what you're doing is you're punishing me for a moment in which a scheduled payment processed and I didn't have my account necessarily ready for that. But you're saying that the way to punish me is to charge me when I already don't have money? I just remember being extremely pissed off because I felt like I was being attacked from all directions. And I remember that at the time something was happening at my apartment complex as well. I think it was the time when they established that you no longer could pay using money orders, you had to use the online portal. And the thing about online is that when you submit your payment, it doesn't withdraw from your account immediately. You have to wait. So that's the part that killed me pretty much because I believed that that stuff had processed, and therefore what I had in my bank account was what I could count on. Something like that. And I think that at the time, I really didn't have an immediate way to monitor it. But I'm having trouble remembering if I had my smartphone by then or if that's when I used to need to rely on the computer. But something happened, and I just remember being really pissed off because, I mean, like I said, you are taking money from someone who doesn't have money already. So it put me on the negatives twice, pretty much. Never have I eaten someone else's lunch from the office fridge. No, that is absolutely stupid. It's irritating. I hate hearing when that happens to somebody else. But I have witnessed someone accidentally destroying someone's lunch. And what happened was, I guess the fridge was overflowing or something. And then someone opened the door and stuff fell out. And it happened to be someone's I guess, plate with an aluminium foil or something. It was some kind of cap that came off loose, and then the food ended up falling on the floor. And then whoever did it, who I witnessed doing it, they left a note behind. So that was nice. But I thought, wow, you don't have to worry about someone eating your stuff. It could be someone accidentally messing up your stuff. I never thought about that. Never have I ever played strip poker. No, and I never will play any kind of poker. I don't see the point. Never have I ever smoked a joint. I have never smoked anything, and I never will. Never have I ever peed in a pool. This one, it's possible that when I was a kid, I might have had a tiny accident. And what I mean by tiny accident is, I don't know if this happens to any of you guys, but sometimes. This happened to me more as a kid. As an adult, I really don't have a recollection of this happening to me. But even if before I go to a pool or get into the pool, especially if you go to a pool at a gym, I always take a shower before I get in a pool, no matter where it is. But sometimes when I touch cold water, it makes me need to go to the bathroom. I just gotta like pee, and it's not a lot. Like, I make sure that before I take a shower, I pee. Then I take a shower, I'm clean. But for some reason, even after doing all that, before getting on a pool, as soon as I submerge myself under the water, something happens to where I feel like something comes out. It's a little bit. It doesn't happen always, but it happens sometimes. And another thing that I can compare that to is, how can I describe this? You know those metallic chairs that fold, that are everywhere whenever there's like a public event or something? You either have plastic or metallic. Well, those metallic chairs, when I used to wear shorts as a kid, same thing. I would sit on that cold surface and feel it against my skin, and it's like it makes me flinch, and it's like I just feel like something releases is the best way to describe it. So I want to say that I have like, I guess, just whatever that is, that little bit, that's what I have done in a pool. But I have never fully emptied my bladder in a pool. Does that make sense? It's like that little tiny bit of liquid that like comes out of that shock. That's it. And I don't even see it. It's just a very little bit, but I do feel like something is being secreted from my body. But I don't know why cold things sometimes does that to me. Do that to me rather. So that one, like I said, I can say that I have secreted that, whatever that is, but it's not like, oh my God, like I peed entirely in a pool to a point that you can see the yellow. Nothing like that. Never have I ever tried hard drugs. No, and I never will. Never have I ever fallen asleep in public. I want to say I have, but I haven't been by myself. Like, I remember taking this ferry with my mom when she had to ship one of her cars over somewhere, but I don't remember where exactly. I just remember that she had to load it onto a boat, and for some reason she ferried it some states away to wherever we were going. Maybe because that was the better way to transport it at the time as opposed to hauling it using a truck. I think that's what it was. She didn't want to drive a truck with a tow or something, so she decided to have it ferried, you know, through the coastline. Um, so during that ferry ride, I can say I fell asleep. And that's about the only memory that I have of falling asleep in public. Never have I ever fallen asleep at work. No. And I just cannot imagine a life in which I do. Just like in school, I never fell asleep at any time when I was in school. But sometimes I be seeing people legit snoring in the break room during our half-hour lunch break. I don't get it. How can you do that? How can you do that? Let's see. Let me catch up with the comments. Hello, beautiful. How are you tonight? Hey, Holger. So tonight, I'm doing okay. Today was a little challenging in the daytime. I'll definitely tell you about it later, but um, we got through it. It wasn't too bad. Oh, you're live. Nice, BG. Hey, Machismo. Never have I ever gotten a ticket or been arrested. Good job. Keep it that way. Because I know people who have gotten in trouble with that type of thing. And first of all, it is expensive. And second of all, I don't know about you, but my sense of responsibility would probably be like, oh God, I will never have peace ever any other day of my life because you have that looming on you. You know what I mean? Like, you're just not the same. Your record is just not the same. It'll affect you in the future. It'll affect your ability to get a job and God knows what else. And I just don't like that, complications like that. So it would really suck. Never have I ever lied on my resume. This is true. I have never lied because I think it's stupid. Sooner or later, the fact that you don't know something or that you can't do something will just show up. And I think that is not worth the risk. And is that really the first impression you want to give your employer? That you actually lie to get something? And I mean, just have integrity. And on top of that, the kind of work that I do anyway, lying in my resume would not have been beneficial even as I was trying to get my first job. You know what I mean? I think it's stupid to lie in any situation. Never have I ever dialed my ex. No, because I have never been drunk. And I don't have a way to keep up with my exes. Like, I don't think I have their numbers. They were in my Facebook for a while, but I remember actively deleting them. But I don't know if I ever added them again because, we were teenagers. So I just thought, out of my life. Never have I ever dropped acid. No. Never have I ever had a one night stand. No, and I never will. Never have I ever read a partner's text messages. The only time I have read them is if they show them to me. But it's not like I'm actively trying to like, oh, let me see what you're saying or anything like that. This is the way I operate. If you invite me into looking at something, I will look at it. If you don't, then you don't. And if you got something to hide, then that's you and your conscience. That's not my problem, honestly. Never have I ever read a partner's emails. Same things. Same thing. Whatever you invited me to look at, if you ever invite me to look at it, that's when I'll see it. Never have I ever been hospitalized for something other than giving birth or being born. I don't think that going to the doctor because you got injured is a hospitalization, right? I would imagine that means you gotta stay overnight. But the closest thing I guess I can say to being hospitalized that I had was I became severely dehydrated back in like 2017, I think. And they had to put me on IV. And it was some kind of, I forget what it's called, but it's something with sodium in it. It took about half an hour, 40 minutes, and I had no idea how bad becoming dehydrated can be. And I just remember that after that little session was over, boy, I felt great. And I was definitely going to the bathroom a lot later that day. But yeah, outside of that, I wouldn't even count the day that this happened because I was out the same day. Never have I ever sang in public. If you count being in a choir, then I can say I have done that. But if you mean, oh, I'm just in public and all of a sudden I just start singing, no. But something that I do is I hum. So is humming a part of it? I don't think so. I think when you sing, you're actively trying to have an audience. But when you're humming, even if you're loudly humming, that's more of a thing for yourself. It's not really a performance of any sort. Let's see. Okay, no more comments. Never have I ever played a musical instrument. Shit. I have played the piano or a keyboard, whatever you call it, or turned it into the organ sound. I have, of course, played my voice. I feel like people do not like to call their voice an instrument, but your voice is an instrument because you can create sounds with it and you can hit different tones, different pitches. So why wouldn't you consider it an instrument? I have also pretended to play the guitar. I've never formally been shown how to play it, but I have the experience of, messing with it. And another thing I have played is the recorder, which I actually have one and I can see it from here. And I remember how to play it too, but it would be a weird sensation trying it now. I think now I would be better at playing it because my lung capacity is way better than when I was a kid. So, shit, I should try it. I might clean it and then give it a shot. Never have I ever gone snowboarding. No, because I can't even skateboard. Snowboarding just sounds like it might be slightly more painful. And on top of that, I don't want to invest on a snowboard anyway, and I really don't care to make it somewhere where there's snow like that, Finding what do you need? A mountain, a hill. I don't know, it just sounds particularly dangerous, and I cannot afford danger like that. And I also just don't have the skill. Just why? Never have I ever gone skiing. Same. I don't think I would. I'm not into winter sports like that. Never have I ever traveled to a foreign country. That's true. Never have I ever. Never have I ever learned a foreign language. That is false. I have attempted to learn French. To a certain extent, I have practiced some Portuguese. I can understand it spoken and written better than I can speak it. And Spanish, I want to say I do fairly well with. I was serious when I was in school. I took advantage of my time in school and I surprisingly did well with it. So, yep. If I could learn a new language, though, I have always said Portuguese is probably the one I want to learn next. But sometimes I think I want to learn something a little more complex. So I feel like something like Dutch sounds cool, sounds like it would be fun. I never hear anybody say, you know what I'm learning? I'm taking fucking Dutch classes. Nobody ever says that. Never have I ever sent a stranger a drink. No. Never have I ever accepted a drink from a stranger. No. But what I have done is occasionally someone might be like, hey, do you need a water bottle? And I'll be like, sure. Or, hey, would you like, can I get you something to drink? Like, I don't know, sometimes they have sparkling waters or anything stupid that I may be into, coconut water, and I'm like, sure. But alcoholic beverages, nah. Never have I lied about my income. No, and I don't understand the people who do. Is it a flex? Is it an insecurity? Are you trying to impress? Anything like that? I think that, first of all, your income is something personal. I would never tell anybody exactly how much I make unless that's something that you just have to know because, I don't know, you're filing taxes or determining benefits or something like that. But income is something that you should keep to yourself. Never have I ever gotten busy in a public place. No. Never have I ever been nude in public. No. Never have I ever dated or hooked up with someone 10 years older. That is false. I actually have experienced someone, dating someone who is over 10 years older than me. Never have I ever dated or hooked up with someone 5 years younger. No, I happen to always be the youngest one in the relationships I have been in. And honestly, I prefer it that way only because I always felt that people my age or younger were always clowns. And you guys know me, I don't like clowns. So, yep, never bothered. But I have met guys who I feel like I could have considered dating who were maybe like a year, year and a half, about 2 years younger than me. But my preference is for the guy to always be older. I like to have the feeling of, since I like to look at the guy as the one who tends to take charge, I feel like I can respect visualizing someone better in a role of leadership if you're older than me. But and that's why I have said before that eventually there's going to come a point in which my management, like my store management and even my department management, is going to be run by someone who's legit younger than me. And I don't think I'm prepared for that. Never have I ever texted or taken a call at the movies. No, that is incredibly stupid. And when it comes to the movies, I like to respect the fact that we're there to watch this thing. I'm not spending like $12 on a ticket or letting someone spend $12 on a ticket for me to like look at my screen. I can look at my screen literally any other time in the day. Why not be a good audience member? See what I mean? Let's see. Any new comments? What? You have never been overseas? Why not? First of all, I don't have a passport. And second of all, I guess you might have missed me saying this in previous videos, but I literally do not like to travel. It gives me extreme anxiety. I don't like to be away from home for longer than 2 days. And this is domestically, okay? I'm talking about I'm going maybe one town over, two towns over. I just cannot do it. Cannot do it. And on top of that, when I think about it, the US is like pretty big. So even if I wanted to go on a trip, like the continental US alone should be satisfying enough. But I personally also, when I think about traveling and England or Australia, that would be survivable because everyone speaks English, right? But I just don't like the idea of being somewhere where the language is not one that I dominate. I'm never going to France. I'm never going to Italy. I'm never going to Portugal. I'm never going to Japan. I'm never going to China. I'm never going to places like that. That's just begging for trouble. As much as I would like to visit the Netherlands, again, that's just asking for trouble. And don't mention stuff like you can get guides or you can get translators, interpreters, and stuff. No, 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 no. You don't understand. I have to be independent anywhere I go at any point. So if I'm not learning the language, nor the culture, nor the customs, nor the laws of a place, why would I be over there? Again, that's just begging for trouble, asking for trouble. It doesn't sound responsible. It doesn't feel responsible. So I just want zero accountability. Like, I don't want to put myself in a position in which I risk making a mistake and there I am in foreign lands and not knowing how to defend myself. See what I mean? And just remember, I'm just not into traveling. I really ain't. So, nope, never been out. And I have never had the craving for it, like, oh my god, I need to go to freaking, I don't know, Germany really bad. Nothing. Never. Never been me. And that's one of the things my brother has, he fights with me about. He's like, what do you mean you don't like to travel? Traveling is the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, for you, but for me, you gotta understand that people respond to these things differently. What's exciting for you may be horrible for me, and vice versa, you know? Never have I ever convinced a friend to dump a partner. No. But I have been consulted to give my thoughts on someone else's relationship. Some years ago, I had this colleague who was seeing some guy, and she was sharing with me the arguments that they were having and how she was feeling sad around him, this and that. And I said, well, I'm very sorry to hear that. That sucks. I know the pain of having, you know, arguments and stuff with partners. But if you think that these discussions, these arguments, these issues don't have remedy, I think you should consider splitting from this person. And I think at the time, if I remember right, she had been with this guy for 2, 3 years, something like that. And then I said, well, I, from the perspective of, I see how this affects you and how you feel down and all that. Nobody deserves to live like that. So maybe it is time that you go. But I don't like to actively tell people, dump that guy, or you're done with that guy, or you need to break up with that guy. No matter how bad things get, I don't think that's the call for me to make. I think that you, as the grown person, as the adult, you have to make that determination. You can ask for advice, but for me to actually pressure you into doing that, I don't think it's my place, because only you know what's going on in your relationship. Now, I would hope that you don't let things get bad, like, say, you don't tolerate things like physical abuse or deliberate, prolonged emotional and mental abuse. I think that's certainly something that the moment that someone tries to put you in that position, you do something about it. You do something against it. You don't tolerate it at all. But if I observe that you have trouble pulling away from someone who's actively harmful for you, I will definitely try to intervene. But I can only say that as someone from the point of view of, if I were seeing that, what would I do? I don't have the experience of knowing someone who's being abused in a relationship, and therefore I intervened. I don't have that experience. And I hope I don't, because it's something that I would not like to get myself involved in, given that I can end up becoming a part of that, and bring complications into my own life. To put it into perspective, how do you think I would feel if I found out that my man is out there defending some woman, and then something happens to him and he doesn't come home to me because he was defending someone else? How is that fair? I would expect that you prioritize and you have a commitment to either your family or your partner slash spouse. You shouldn't be out there resolving the problems of other people. Other people should be responsible for their safety. I'm not saying that you cannot at all try to help someone if they're being a victim of something. I'm just saying that you need to recognize what degree of complication you can get yourself involved in, to where it doesn't bring negative consequences to you that you cannot handle, versus the ones that endanger you. See what I mean? Because if I found out that my man died defending someone else, I'm going to be pissed. See what I mean? But I'm not saying that if you see somebody going through something that you cannot help at all. I'm just saying that you shouldn't feel compelled to be involved with anyone for everyone at any time. Because if you do that, there's somewhere else and someone else you're going to be failing. And I think that that's a fair thing. So now, to describe that pertaining to me, I would expect for my man to not be happy with me if he learns that I'm getting involved in other people's relationships, even if I'm just tertiary. I'm being involved to be influential, and therefore I'm invested in that situation, and that consumes my time, my resources, my focus. Like, if I allow for that to happen, that's going to have an effect in my personal life somewhere. And I'm saying that I cannot allow that to happen because of my status. I owe my best and my presence to someone already. Therefore, I cannot get too involved with other people's matters. Does that make sense? Cool. I'm not saying you should be the way that I am or that you have to be the way that I am. I'm just trying to describe why I am the way that I am when it comes to that. Never have I ever convinced a partner to dump a friend. When I was in school, I remember something similar. It was these two girls were not really getting along anymore. And I remember telling the girl that I was most close with, because I happened to be friends with both, but I was more close with one of them more than the other. And it was just because of time. Like, I had known one of them longer than the other. Therefore, we were more connected, that type of thing. But I observed that between them two as friends, it just wasn't working anymore. And I don't like it when someone talks to me about someone else negatively when they cannot defend themselves. And it sounds more like you're speaking more in a manner of attacking that other person. If you're going to talk to me about someone else, tell me about something that they do, not something that they do to annoy you. So, for instance, if you know someone who's artistic, talk to me about how you admire the fact that they are artistic. Like, I like the color scheme that they use. I love their designs, or I wish that they would do more black and white instead, something like that. But if you're going to criticize someone else's character and I wasn't there to witness the stuff that you're complaining to me about, just know that I'm going to have either a neutral position, I'm going to let you talk and not entertain anything that you're saying, or I may ask you to not talk about them at all. Because I don't think that it's nice or fair that you're giving me an account of this person from your perspective, but this person is not there to defend themselves and they deserve to be heard as well. Just because I'm more friends with you, it doesn't mean that you are immune to being wrong or immune to making mistakes. And I have lost friends to me being that way, which is, hey, I'm sorry, but I like to be a very fair person. And if I wasn't there to see what happened, then I wasn't there. I cannot just take your side of your story and roll with it and take it as a matter of fact. I have to listen to the other person's perspective, point of view, to corroborate whatever it is that you're saying. I have to be neutral. That's what a good friend does. I cannot just take your side blindly and entertain you, because what if you're doing something fucked up? Then here I am being involved with you. I think that's irresponsible. So let me catch up with some comments. The pandemic ruined movie theaters for me. Oh my god, when it comes to the pandemic and movie theaters, I sincerely never thought that I would be in a theater again, because it just seemed so impractical to have the distancing and stuff like that the way we had it. But for me, what has made the movie theater so unbelievably stupid is how expensive everything has gotten. Like the movies were expensive already to begin with, but in recent times, it's just another level of ridiculous. And I also think that another thing that annoyed me about the pandemic was that, of course, the way that movies were produced had to suffer a little bit because of the whole um, maybe someone was sick during the time of production, during filming or something. So they started to experiment with AI and stuff, and I don't know. It looked weird. We were living in weird times for sure. Have you ever done loss prevention? No, not that I'm aware. Not that I can recall. You mean loss prevention from like my job or taking a class or what do you mean? Never have I ever been someone else's alibi. Nope. Never have I ever hopped a turnstile. Nope, doesn't sound familiar. Never have I ever snitched on someone else at work. Now, when it comes to snitching, I could be considered a snitch, but it's from the perspective of if my manager is asking who did what or who didn't do what, and they're asking me and I know the answer, why the hell would I not tell them? Because I look at the manager as a teacher. I respect teachers. I never have issues with respecting authority. So if a figure of authority is asking me something, why would I act dumb? Why would I act stupid? Why would I not supply the information that they need? Because if I don't, eventually that shit is going to affect me anyway. And I don't like playing games when I'm at the job. And occasionally, if I have to report something to my manager that may affect someone's performance, I'm going to. Like sometimes we have new people who may not handle cash safely or correctly. I will take a moment to very discreetly shoot my managers an email and be like, hey, I observed one of the new folks doing this and that. I recommend that one of you follow up with them as to why that's not recommended, blah, blah, blah. I'm not doing that with ill intent. Now, if you are a snitch with ill intent, then sure, I think that's a bad thing. But anytime I find myself talking about someone or saying he did it, she did it, it's because it had an effect on the department. It's never really with the intent to just be evil or something. See what I mean? Never have I ever donated an organ. No. Never have I ever lied to a law enforcement officer. No. In fact, my interactions with law enforcement have been very limited. Do you guys remember years ago, this was about 4 years ago, that one clown who showed up at my door and he legit started turning the knob and trying to open it and stuff, and he was already angry and he spoke French too, and whatever he was saying, whoever he was talking to, he was pissed. So if you're mad and you're not taking no for an answer, which is they were knocking at my door and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I'm not going to open the door, especially back in those days when I was by myself. Um, that and you are already upset and acting stupid and you start violently, shaking my doorknob, yeah, I'm gonna freak out. So I ended up calling the cops on him. And then the cops showed up, and it turns out that I guess he can't read and he didn't realize that my apartment is not the one he was looking for. I guess he was looking for my numbered apartment, but in a different building. I'm just saying, all I know is you attempted to open my door. I don't know you. You don't know me. You don't know anybody else in this household. Like, you have no business messing with my door, period. So, since you did, I would rather be safe than sorry. So anyway, I'm glad that that was handled the way that it was. We have no regrets. That helped him calm the fuck down. Like, hey, your actions have consequences. And I was able to confirm that this fool is not, trying something crazy. And in addition, I'm also glad that I had that experience with law enforcement because that way I know what to expect in the future. Something like that. Never have I ever been a maid of honor. No. Never have I ever been a best man. If you guys want to see my manly side, you let me know. Never have I ever called a partner the wrong name. No. Never have I ever thought a friend's baby was ugly. Okay, you guys. I happen to have a pending video idea about how I think babies are fucking ugly. Two things about babies. I think they're all inherently ugly. I know I was an ugly baby, but in addition, I think that babies are very difficult to distinguish because sometimes at the store I'll be seeing customers who have a child and I'm like, you are dressed like neutrally, so I can't tell if you're a boy or a girl because some kids don't have hair for a while. And especially if you're an infant, I feel like babies tend to be inherently fat. So if you're fat, that makes you like a certain size to where your features, the features that would make you male or female, aren't easily distinguishable. And when the child is a little bigger, like big enough to be able to sit on the shopping cart, sometimes I can't tell unless it's very obvious that you have feminine clothes or like more masculine clothes. But shit, I think that babies are ugly, inherently ugly. And I guess it's because your features haven't quite formed yet. See what I mean? But yeah, I guess I'm not going to make that video now because I realize I really don't have a lot to say. It probably was gonna be like a minute and 20-second video of me just saying, you guys, here's something you should know. I think babies are ugly, and this is why. But yeah, shit. I would take the liberty of telling someone that their motherfucking child is ugly. That's the kind of person I am. I am not afraid of speaking what I consider to be true. I know popcorn is like $900. Yeah, it's absolutely absurd, ridiculous, and it's not even that amazing. It's not even the best quality in the world. I personally have a better time watching movies from home than watching movies at the movie theater because sometimes shit happens. I happen to always go out pretty prepared, but occasionally, once in a while, I may end up needing to go to the bathroom in the middle of the movie, and I have had to step out of the theater legitimately once. And I think it was because of a long ass movie, maybe a movie that was like close to 3 hours long. And I'm guessing that had to be, maybe it was Batman versus Superman. I know that it was one of those long ass superhero movies, and I just had to step out, and that was the only time I did that. And if it wasn't one of those, it was maybe a long Star Wars movie, something like that. But yeah, I think that the movies are just not a very doable hobby anymore. At least not like price conscious. Like sometimes when it comes to buying certain foods, I have to triple ask myself if that's something that I realistically can do, because I'm really having trouble with making more money than I spend in certain pay cycles. And I'm like, my habits haven't changed. I have stopped driving to certain places to avoid burning the gas. I've remained a local since August. Like, I haven't been beyond maybe like 15 miles away, like farther than 15 miles since August. So, never have I ever won more than $50 gambling. I have never gambled. Never have I ever lost more than $50 gambling. I have never gambled. Never have I ever gone vegan. No, I like to have animal ridden food today, yesterday, and tomorrow. And even if I were told that I'm only gonna live for one more month, if I don't go vegan immediately, I'm still going to enjoy my animal ridden diet just like my ancestors did. Never have I ever used a fake ID. No, because I actually do fear consequences, but also I have never been to an event in which I, or rather, never have I had interest in an event in which I wasn't old enough to be there doing that. Nor have I had that interest anyway. I wasn't trying to go to clubs. I wasn't trying to buy alcohol. And I wasn't trying to like travel somewhere without parental permission or whatever it is that you need to be 18 or older for. See what I mean? So why would I need to fake an ID? I think that's stupid. Never have I ever lied about my age. Lol. I do that to customers just because I think they're nosy. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I think you're 19 years old. And I'm like, sure, I'll take it. Well, are you? And I'm like, sure. That's my personal information. I'm not going to tell you. Never have I ever had a lucid dream. When it comes to lucid dreams, or really dreams in general, I've never been quite clear on what the different stages or layers of sleep induced dreaming. Like, what category of dreaming am I dreaming? Does that make sense? Is it lucid? Is it a brief dream? Is it a hallucination? Is it anything like that? I've never been quite clear on the different types of dreams, if that makes sense. But I guess I can say that I have very intense dreams that I'm like, wow, this felt super real, but I'm not sure that's considered lucid. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say on that one. I'm gonna say maybe not, probably not. Never have I ever campaigned for a political candidate. Lol, no. I look at that as celebrity worship, and that's just not something I'm interested in. Never have I ever had chicken pox. No, I have not. Never have I ever flashed someone. Lol, no. I think that's stupid. Never have I ever mooned someone. No. Never have I ever lied to my best friend. No. Never have I ever had a road rage incident. I have been upset by fuckeries that people do when they're driving, and I have observed other people get mad at me when it was their fault. I very vividly remember the closest thing I got to road rage was I was at this red light. I was like the third car, and there was this stupid Karen coming out of a gas station, and for some reason, she was expecting for me to yield to her. Although I have right of way because I'm already on the street. And she's the one trying to come out of an establishment, trying to come out of a parking lot. So she kept inching and inching ever so slightly closer to me. And as soon as her nose started to like invade my lane, I honked at her. And then she was on her phone and she rolled down her window. I happened to have my windows cracked down. And then she called me, she either said little bitch or stupid bitch. I can't remember. And I'm like, excuse me? I have right of way, period. And there is not a sign that reads, do not block entrance to the petrol station. Nothing like that. So why the hell do you feel entitled to me yielding to you? But go ahead, keep rolling forward. I am going to hit you, and it is going to be your fucking fault. So that's the closest thing I've ever experienced to road rage. But legitimate, real road rage, like to the point that my life is in danger or anyone stepped out of their car or something like that. Nah, never. Never have I ever cut in line on purpose. Nope, I never go anywhere in a hurry. Never have I ever held a grudge longer than a year. My daddy issues, so it's definitely been my entire life, so I guess so. But honestly, when it comes to that, I can say that I have let go of more things than I have retained. And I guess I can be reminded of grudges, but it's not like, oh my god, my grudges define me. Nothing like that. Never have I ever blabbed something I swore to secrecy. Nope, never. Never have I ever ruined someone else's vacation. Nope. How do you even ruin someone's vacation? I guess it's you go out with someone vacationing and then you act stupid and you create tension. Would that be it? Even then, no. Never have I ever chipped a tooth. Oh my god, that is literally my biggest fear because I guess I inherited the same bullshit that my father had, which is he has broken, or rather chipped, a tooth. And it's because there are certain parts of our teeth that are thin. They look kind of like invisible. And that my teeth are the exact shape that he has. And the tooth that looks thinner than others is like the frontal ones. And sometimes when I bump my teeth against a glass, and this is one of the reasons I stopped using metal utensils, but sometimes I would hit my tooth using those, and then I thought this was a pretty hard hit by my standards. And I just know that if I ever chip a tooth, I'm going to wear a mask for the rest of my life because I'm going to hate how that looks. And it's more so of, I guess, just wanting to conceal it because I just don't want to look at myself in a distorted way. Like I'm used to looking this way. And if I were to chip one of my teeth, I think I would be too weirded out by that. And there's already some stuff wrong with me that I'm concealing. So having to conceal my teeth, ugh. I would miss my smile though, because my smile is something I've always been confident about. But yeah, I hope I don't, because if something happens to my teeth, I have no way of doing anything about it. Never have I ever tried a fad diet. Nope. All you gotta do is eat. When it comes to diets, you can eat. Just do so responsibly. It's okay for you to let yourself go maybe once every couple of years or so, but to remain in a let go stage, I think that's the bad thing. And you guys have seen me. There have been times in which I have gained 15 pounds, 10, 5, 3, half a pound. Like I keep that under control. Like I have my seasons in which maybe once every 3, 4, 5 years I may have an issue, and I'm like, okay, I cannot maintain my shape quite like I'm used to. And on top of that, I'm just a mere mortal, and the clock is ticking. I cannot expect to maintain my shape as effortlessly as when I was like 18 years old, right? But there are just little things that you can do to avoid it. Something getting out of control, getting really bad. I'm just not very clear how it gets to that point, how it gets that bad. But I think that in some cases, I think people spend too much time in denial. It's either that, or if you experience a situation in which your body does not work the same and you don't know what to do with your new body, then okay, that's different. But if you're still the same, your functionality is the same, and you're just having trouble managing what you're consuming and say calories in, calories out, then I think that's something else. Because me personally, I put on weight whenever I let my emotions control me. I have been that person to eat a whole quart of ice cream in one sitting by myself. I have eaten large pizzas by myself in one sitting, but you guys wouldn't know. And would you guys believe me if I said I did that like a week ago? No, I don't look that different. I planned for that. It's like, okay, I did this out of stress. I made the mistake. I need to make sure that I stay away from A, B, C, and D. But you guys probably didn't have an idea that any of that happened. See what I mean? I'm not trying to normalize that. It was just something I did on an impulse. It's like, oh, shit, I want to do something that I enjoy. Pizza is something that I enjoy, but pizza has consequences. What can I do to minimize the damage? So I did. And it happened to be a day when I happened to be particularly busy anyway. And according to the data on my watch, I burned over 1,000 calories anyway. So is that pizza gonna kill me? Sure. I mean, it'll bring me closer to, uh, I can't say this word, but like atherosclerosis, that thing where your arteries clog up and shit. Sure, maybe, but I think everybody is doomed to getting heart disease this day and age, so maybe I'll just get there a little sooner. I don't care. I really don't. Like, it's gonna be okay. Never have I ever cut my own hair. That is false. I actually do my own haircut, and it's been like 2 years since I've done that. And the reason I remember that is because at my current place, I haven't done it. So, yeah. The last time I cut my hair, I was living at my old place. And if you guys will excuse me for 1 second, I need to take a look at this little message that I just received. Um, Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my brother. We are waiting on a little something. Sometimes he works late nights and he won't text me until way later in at nighttime. In a sense, that's the reason I'm trying to stay up too. And he just got back to me, so I just gotta tell him a little something something. Okay, perfect. That works out. That, that, and that. Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. Never have I ever been awake more than for 24 hours straight or more. I'm trying to remember if during our trip to Kansas, we drove there. Um, if we actually went 24 hours without sleeping. I don't think we did. And me personally, I want to say I could stay up for 24 hours if I have to, but I don't have a recollection of actually having done it. I want to say the closest I've been has been 20 hours. And the reason I say that is because after I graduated from high school, I took some months off to kind of like get my mind together, get my thoughts together, try to figure out what I wanted to do. And I vividly remember that I would wake up around 9 a.m. But there was a night in which my mom went to bed and she woke up and I was still awake from the day before. So um, she got up around 5 a.m. and she had to be at her job like at 7. So if I got up at around 9 and I was still awake by 7, but I went to bed not too long after she left, then I think I might have done about 22 hours straight being awake. But I'm not entirely sure because I cannot remember if the previous day I slept until 9 or if I had awakened earlier. But my recollection of looking at time that I created was 9. Say, I can wake up and sometimes I don't look at the time. If I'm off, I don't look at what time I woke up habitually. You know what I mean? So it's possible that I have, but I personally cannot say with certainty. Yes, I remember waking up at 7 and I remember going to bed the next day after 7 and I stayed up that entire time. That I don't remember. I don't think I have. But I could. I can tell you that much. Never have I ever accidentally said I love you to someone. I don't know what accidentally means in this instance. I think that saying that to someone is pretty deliberate. But maybe if you mean something like someone has their back turned and you think it's a specific someone and they turn around and it turns out that it's not who you thought it was and that's the accident, then sure, I can see that. But yeah, I think that's kind of silly if you ask me. I don't think there's an accidental way of saying anything to someone. Never have I ever cried or flirted my way out of a ticket. No. Never have I ever snooped through a friend's room, cabinet, or property. Oh my god. That is something that if you guys were to ever, for some reason, have me over at your place, you will observe that I don't tend to observe my surroundings very much because I try to respect your space and respect your possessions to the point that I don't fixate on them. To further elaborate, what I mean by that is what I said earlier about looking at correspondence, such as texts or emails. Unless you invite me into exploring and looking around in your place, this is not my place. Why would I be nosy? I have had nosy people in my life and I absolutely hate it. I will have pieces of paper or mail on top of a table or something, and I see you looking at it. Why are you looking at it? That's not your business. That doesn't belong to you. That's not your personal matter. Why are you looking at it? Well, if you have it right there, I can't help but look. I can help, but not look. I have done it. That's what I do. Same thing with my managers. They'll be at work, they'll be using their computer, and sometimes I need to tell them something or attract their attention or something. I'm not trying to look over their shoulder and see what they're writing or typing out, even if the font size is big or anything like that, unless something has my name on it, or I have been invited into looking at it, I'm not going to look at it because I don't care. And I think it's very disrespectful to look at things that don't belong to you. What are you hoping to find? And I think that the reason I am that way, beyond trying to be respectful, is that you guys know that I don't like noise. Anything that you read, anything that you see, anything that you explore, that's stimulating your brain. That is not helping keep your brain quiet. So, why on God's green earth would I go around being nosy as fuck with other people's belongings when that creates noise in my brain? Does that make sense? I hope it does. If it doesn't, oh well, I guess I'll be alone in this situation. But I really, really, really despise it when people start sticking their hands over my stuff. And I have not indicated to you that that's okay. And this is what I hate the most. When the person doing that and I reprimand them for it, they go, "It wouldn't bother me if it were me or if you were doing it to me." I don't care. I am not you. I think that should be taught. You should be courteous and have manners around other people's stuff and belongings. In the same manner that you like to defend your phone with everything that you have, I think that that level of defensiveness you should display toward other things, other people's things. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Never have I ever gotten busy in a car. No. Unless you consider like something like kisses as getting busy, but nah, nothing crazy like that. Never have I ever worked with someone I couldn't stand. Oh my god, you cannot avoid it. The reason you can get to the point with me in which I can't stand you is if you're just lazy, or if you're the kind of person who you're just in the way. But outside of that, it's not like there's someone out there that I actively just cannot stand. Because fortunately for me, when I am in a situation in which there's someone whose vibe isn't compatible with mine, I'm grown enough, old enough to where I am able to walk away by myself and go places by myself and not be stuck somewhere. Whereas as a kid, when you don't like something or someone, you don't have a choice. You got to stick close to whatever parental figure is watching over you. But as a grown person, there's no way that I just tolerate someone who I cannot exist well around, if that makes sense. I'm not the kind of person to be like, oh my god, I just cannot stand their guts. I just hate them. Nothing like that. I just know how to get myself away from that. I think that the folks who struggle with this are the people who need attention, or they really want to be friends with everybody and they become frenemies with other people. And I think that's just the weirdest thing ever. Never have I ever farted and blamed it on someone else or the dog. Oh my god, yeah, that. I think that's stupid. I've never felt embarrassed about bloopers. Like sometimes I'm anticipating the day that at the very least I let out an obnoxious burp during a stream or something like that. But I think that I avoid it well enough to the point that I guess I can just hide it or I can avoid it. And sneezing. I'm pretty sure one day I'm just gonna have one of my instances in which I have like 5 sneezes back to back to back to back to back to back. I'm not gonna try to hide it. I'm a freaking human. Human have biological processes. Why would you try to avoid it? Is it embarrassing? Potentially, but you just need to learn how to be confident about yourself and your existence. And I don't have time to try to justify that, say, if I fart or something, it's like, oh, no, that wasn't me. I don't know what that is. I don't know where that came from. It was probably the person who just walked by. It's like, nah, if I were in that situation, if I did it and I couldn't walk away or be discreet about it, I'll be like, yeah, I farted just like you. And, you're telling me that you've gone your entire life without doing that? That's impossible. You would probably die from that. See what I mean? So, yeah, I don't get it. Never have I ever had a lot of money. Brother, you and me both. If I could high five you, I would. Welcome to the Brokes Club. We should probably found one of those. Never have I ever had a friend with benefits. No. Never have I ever eaten food that broke the 5-second rule. No. I'm very, 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 very particular about my food. If something falls to the floor, I don't care what it is. It could be a slice of chicken and pesto pizza. It could be chicken katsu. It could be anything, whatever it is that I love the most in this world. I am not eating it. Whether it's in my house, in my kitchen, in my bedroom, wherever it is, I am never, ever doing that. Never have I ever spent an entire day watching reality TV. No. Never have I ever sent nudes. No. Never have I ever received nudes. So I have not received what I guess I could classify as, wow, from head to toe, this person is completely naked, right? But for some reason, I don't know how, I don't know why, where, but there was a year in which I was getting this number that wasn't in my contacts. They were texting me pictures of their lower body parts, right? And the strangest thing is that about a year or two after, another number sent me messages with similar content. And I wish I knew what the deal was. Because, again, it was definitely nobody I knew. And at the time, not many people had my number. And I know that the people I had given my number to would never give my number out. But I just thought that it was the strangest thing ever. So, I guess I have received material that's like that, questionable. But it's never been like, wow, a person is just completely like exposing themselves to me. Like you can see the face, you can see the entire body, nothing like that. So, yep, I guess I can say I have received partial, and I hated it because it's not my type of thing. I don't want to see that. I don't want it on my phone. So, don't do that. Don't do that. Never have I ever blamed a fart on a pet. Look, Holger, it came up. So my answer to that is no, of course. Can you imagine that, me trying to make Dusty be my scapegoat? Scapegoat, that would be funny. Never have I ever thought a cartoon character was hot. That would be a lie. I definitely have thought that there's some uh, drawn characters that are hot. When it comes to cartoons, I don't immediately have one come to mind. But I feel like a lot of anime characters can be pretty dope looking. I think that my eternal anime crush is probably going to be Miles Edgeworth from Ace Attorney. He fine. I think he fine. Never have I ever Googled someone before a date. No. Never have I ever regifted something. I think I have. I feel like there was this pair of pants. Yeah, that's what it was. I had a pair of pants that it just really wasn't my style. And I knew someone, the moment I saw them, I'm like, this reminds me of this person. And then I showed them to that person. And she was like, these are so cute. Where did you get them? And I'm like, it doesn't matter because I am giving them to you. Oh, you don't have to, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm telling you, you can have it because I'm not going to wear it. But I never told them that this was a gift that I had gotten. I just said, these simply did not work out for me, and I thought about you before getting rid of them, so here you go. Yep, that I have definitely done. Never have I ever crashed a party or a wedding. I've never been to a wedding, and in my time as an adult, I honestly haven't been to a full blown party. So, nope. I think I'm gonna do one more and then catch up with the comments. And after this, I'm gonna have to bail you guys. Never have I ever dated a musician. No. And that makes me so sad because music is so cool. Never have I ever Googled myself. Same. I feel like the only thing I ever tried doing when I was in school, it was I curiously did look up my first name just to see if anyone else happened to have it, at least in town. And I don't remember what the Google answers yielded, but I think that since I was a literal minor, it was hard for my name to come up, but I'm pretty sure that my data has been sold so many times now that I'm pretty sure that my name would be plastered all over if I were to search it. Well, you guys, that is it from me. I'm going to stop right here. We did pretty good out of 250. We answered 81. I called that pretty good. But by my standards, it is. I had fun with this. I think I'm enjoying this a little more than this or that, whatever topic it was that I was doing some weeks ago. But yeah, these aren't bad. I feel like these are more fun. It forces me to go back in track with some of these because there's some stuff that I'm seeing here that I'm like, oh shit, this is totally taking me back to my high school days and stuff like that. So yeah. Um, I'm definitely gonna do a part two, possibly a part three to this until we finish, because now I'm curious to see what the future questions are going to be and what you guys may possibly have to say. All right, that's it from me. I'm sorry for bailing, but yeah, I gotta go. Bye. Thanks for hanging out.